Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel, here to tell you the entire story of Greek mythology. And we have a lot of ground to cover today, so let's just get right into it. First off, we got to introduce our next two main characters, Uranus and Gaia. Uranus is the personification of the sky, and Gaia is the personification of the earth. These two were so powerful that they were considered primordials, which was a rank above even the gods. In fact, all the primordial beings were created before there even was a concept of gods, which begs the question, what came first, the chicken or the egg? But that's for another time. These primordial deities were also the parents of the first gods, which makes them the grandparents of the Olympians. So that means Zeus actually calls Uranus and Gaia his great-grandparents. Anyways, the first children of Uranus and Gaia were the Titans, a race of enormous gods who ruled over the universe during the first age of the world. There are many different names on this list, but I'm only going to go over the ones I think are important. And then if you want me to do a follow-up episode about the other Titans, let me know in the comments. Atlas the Titan, who would eventually be condemned to hold up the sky for the rest of time. Prometheus the Titan, who would create humanities from clay and teach them how to be civilized. Epimetheus, Prometheus' brother, who, unlike him, would not listen to the advice of the gods and would end up unleashing evil into the world. Tethys, the Titan goddess of salt water, and her twin sister, Okeanos, the Titan god of fresh water. Both of these guys were also the parents of many monsters, like Typhon, the most powerful monster in all of Greek mythology. But more on that later. Also, I should probably mention Cronus here too, because he's pretty important. He was the youngest son of Uranus and Gaia, and he would eventually overthrow his father and become the supreme ruler of the cosmos. So after the Titans came the Cyclopes and the 100-handed giants, who were both born from the blood that spattered from Uranus's wound when Cronus castrated him. The Cyclopes were three one-eyed giants who forged awesome weapons for the gods, including the lightning bolt of Zeus. Then the 100-handed giants were, well, 50 of them actually, since the blood formed 50 hands. They were all male and they were all monsters. But they weren't mindless brutes. They were actually really smart and worked together as a team. So they pose a serious threat to anyone who tries to fight them. Now, if you've seen the channel for any amount of time, you'll know that the 100-handed giants are actually my favorite creatures in all of Greek mythology. If you don't believe me, just check the thumbnail. Anyway, each hand had its own name and personality, and if you're curious what their names were, let me know in the comments, and maybe I can fit it in a future episode. But yeah, with 50 hands, 50 minds, they could pretty much take on any army by themselves. But now it's time for the big showdown between Uranus and Cronus. So, let me set the scene here. Uranus and Gaia were hanging out in their bedroom doing the nasty when Gaia was like, "Yo, baby, we need to talk." And Uranus was like, "Ugh, Fine, but make it quick. I was in the middle of something, and she said, we have a problem. Our son, Cronus, has just murdered his father's greatest enemy, Typhon, and he is now the supreme ruler of the cosmos. So I guess we gonna have to move over and let him take our place as king and queen of the Primordials. And Uranus responded, yeah, I guess you're right. That kid did do a number on Typhon. I mean, at least he finally stopped that monster from destroying the whole planet every few minutes. You know, but still kinda sucks that he didn't show a little more respect to his old man by waiting until after I died to take the throne. I mean, come on, man, that's just rude. And Gaia replied, yeah, I guess you're right. You know, I've always hated that kid anyway. He was never even a good listener. Remember when he brought home that pet bird that turned out to be a harpy? Yeah, he was grounded for that one. Good times. Then they both looked at each other and realized something. Neither of them actually had anywhere to go. The house was in the middle of the ocean, literally the center of the universe, and it had been there since before the universe began. Sure, Cronus had made it clear that he wasn't going to kick them out, but living under your adult son and his wife, Rhea, and all their kids and grandkids and great-grandkids, I mean, that's just awkward. And also, now that Cronus was in charge, he could easily overrule them if he ever wanted to. So Gaia suggested to Uranus that they secretly slip away and start their own cult on a faraway island where they could live out the remainder of their immortal lives in peace. But Uranus wasn't having it. He was furious at what Cronus had done and wanted revenge. So while Gaia was asleep, he slipped out of bed, transformed into an enormous bull, and abducted his daughter Europa and took her to a cave on the far side of the island. Now, Europa was extremely hot, so Uranus was definitely taking advantage of her being knocked out and not able to consent. But that's not what this channel is about. So let's just move on. In the morning, Gaia awoke and noticed that her daughter was missing. She immediately went to Cronus and told him what he had done, which made him go totally ballistic. In fact, he was so enraged that he summoned all the titans and the giant monsters to his side and prepared to wage war on his father. However, Gaia managed to calm him down and reasoned with him, saying things like, hey, listen, buddy, you gotta stay cool. Dad may have kidnapped my daughter, but you don't wanna turn into a raging lunatic, do you? I mean, you already chopped up your own father. Don't you think that's enough violence for one lifetime? And Cronus replied, I guess you're right. I'm sorry, honey. It's just, you know, this bull crap really pisses me off. I mean, he just took my daughter without even asking. I would have given her to him if he just asked. Why did he have to sneak around like a pervert? Seriously, it's crap like this that makes me not want to be a dad. I mean, imagine if one of our sons did something like that. I wouldn't be able to live with myself. And Gaia said, well, if it makes you feel better, neither would I. So how about we strike a deal? You go fight your father, and I'll watch the kids. And if you win, we'll punish him together. But if you lose, then I'll handle it. Fair enough. And he said, "Thanks, babe. You're the best. Now, where did you put that friggin' scythe again? I swear I threw it out last night." So off went Cronus to battle his father, and Gaia stayed behind in their bedroom with a giant bag of magical herbs. Now, this is a bit weird, but she started sprinkling those herbs around their bedroom, turning the walls into a giant mirror that showed her everything that happened in the outside world. So she could see everything Cronus saw, and it would have been easy for her to just sit back and watch the fight. But she didn't want to do that. She didn't want to be a spectator in her son's war. She wanted to be an active participant. So she grabbed her magic herbs and flew out the window to join the fray. Cronus was having a hard time fighting his father. Even though he was stronger than Uranus, his father was way more experienced and skilled in battle. Just when it seemed like he was going to lose, though Gaia swooped in and used her magic to curse Uranus, which made him lose half of his godly power. At that moment, Cronus felt a surge of strength and confidence. He fought with all his might and managed to overpower his father, cut off his balls and tossed them into the sea. This act would have a major impact on the world. In fact, the blood that spilled from Uranus' wound would lead to the creation of the giants and monsters of Greek myth. But I'll leave that for next time. So then Cronus killed his father and took his place on the throne. Gaia then helped him to build his palace and gave birth to his children. And so that was the end of the era of the Primordials and the beginning of the age of the Titans. If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe. And if you want me to keep going, then I guess I'll keep going. This has been the channel. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Oh, and on a side note, I named this series Chagutubas Policy because YouTube's community guidelines are so restrictive that if I tried to post some of this stuff, they would ban my channel. So yeah, that's why I had to come up with my own platform.